This week in politics, the headline, damage control. Whether it's criticism over slow vaccine rollouts or party members who traveled abroad during the holidays. Joining me with more is the Globe and Mail's Laura Stone. Laura, great to see you again today. We've got this comparison.
Good morning.
Hi, we've got this comparison happening in Ontario where we've got the highest COVID numbers in the country. Day by day, we're seeing the highest cases, yet we are among the slowest when it comes to vaccinating. So what is happening in Ontario? How is Premier Doug Ford looking to ramp things up in terms of vaccination?
Well, that's right, Kelsey. A lot of criticism and concern over the pace of vaccinations across the country, but particularly in Ontario. And we're hearing a lot from doctors who are calling for governments to find more urgency in their vaccine rollout plan. We know that Premier Ford yesterday talked about some bumps in the road. We've heard about some logistical challenges of administering, particularly the Pfizer vaccine, which, as you've mentioned, has to stay in ultra cold temperatures. But now we really need to ramp up this process. So I think we're going to see some expanded hospital capacity. We're starting to hear more about mobile units actually going to deliver the Moderna vaccine into long-term care homes. And the Ontario government has said or suggested that those in the hardest hit areas in the Toronto area in long-term care homes will get vaccines by mid-January. So we are going to hear more from the government about their plans to ramp up this capacity, because right now the province has only administered about 40,000 doses of vaccine, with about 100,000 sitting in freezers waiting to go.
Laura, in Alberta, 2 MLAs have now resigned while 5 other UCP members were demoted after they left the country over the holidays. In Ontario, the same happened to former finance minister. So how did international travel seem to end up in the blind spots of both premiers?
Well, this did seem to kind of swoop in and surprise a lot of people, particularly those in government. When we heard about Rod Phillips' trip here in Ontario, you kind of heard and saw the shock from some of the staff members in government who didn't even know, who said they didn't even know that he was gone. But this is a particularly sore point, and I think that's why we've seen Premier Jason Kenney out in Alberta kind of make an about-face, a U-turn on his reaction. Last week, he was sort of defending this travel, saying it wasn't explicitly banned. And then, of course, he turned around yesterday and fired or had people resign in his very close inner circle, particularly his chief of staff. So, you know what? It's because a lot of Canadians, they've been doing their best. They've been following the rules. And a lot of people want to travel right now. They'd love to take a trip. They'd love to visit their families, and they're not doing that. And so it's kind of that classic case of political hypocrisy that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And politicians across the country are hearing from people. They're hearing the anger and they're seeing the frustration. And so they're saying that people want action when these decisions and these moves are made.
Laura, we've got a lot of parents and family members wondering about the return to in-class learning. Do we know yet how the premiers are managing that pressure around in-class learning when some cases are rising across the country?
Well, most major provinces, including Ontario and Quebec, have delayed the return to school. They're doing online learning for this week. BC, however, are returning to the classrooms, and there's some concern from parents out there, but it's a very tricky balancing act. And we've seen governments, particularly here in Ontario, not want to cancel in-person learning, because that, of course, puts a lot of pressure on parents. If you're working from home, how are you supposed to balance the duties of your own job and helping your kids at school? It also disadvantages a lot of children who may not have the technological laptops and other devices that they need to do their work, especially if you have more than one child. And so the governments really are facing this tricky balance of trying to protect kids, but making sure that they're getting that in-school learning, that parents are able to work. And so I think we're going to have see a lot of discussions over whether there will be further delay or whether kids will go back to school as planned.
Yeah, that conversation will continue. Laura, unfortunately, we are done for right now, but it's great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.